Hey everyone,
Hello.
This is Luke from Essential TV,
I'm Peter. And I'm Ricky.
and we are here to talk about last night's episode of The Walking Dead, and a lot of frustrations, okay?
Finally some closure, but a lot more frustrations.
So I just want to start by saying, as I've said week after week for several weeks, this season started awesome. The first 3 episodes of the season were fantastic. They were among the best episodes of the series. And I thought, finally the curse is broken. We are going to have a consistently good season of The Walking Dead, which I don't think we've ever had before, except I guess you could say maybe season 1, which was only 6 episodes, was pretty good all around. So then immediately when we got to the Morgan episode, it was just like, slam on the brakes and we're just going to chill here for a while. So we've had 3 episodes after that were just like nothing happened. And finally last night things happened. But a lot of frustrating things happened. So, spoilers if you have not seen last night's episode of The Walking Dead. Things happened and we're going to discuss them, so don't watch if you don't want to know. And please restream and retweet and let other Walking Dead fans know so we can get a big discussion going, because there's a lot to talk about. What did you guys think of last night?
I'm just glad they started off immediately with Glenn.
Right.
Like, if we had to wait till the end of the episode...
And someone said, I'm sorry, your name scrolled off, mad the writers made us suffer, though. Yes.
I knew it from the start, and if you go back to our first review after that Glenn episode, I knew he wasn't dead, which a lot of people guessed, too.
But I'd been saying he's dead, and you'd been saying he's dead, because it's stupid if he's not dead.
It was stupid.
It kind of kills the credibility of the show and how they deal with their characters. I understand that Glenn was a prime character, but the way that they made it seem was just not. This is not right.
It wasn't respectful to the audience. Right?
I gotta admit, though, what Glenn dealt with, that whole process, was like crazy. Just lying underneath that dumpster, just like knifing walkers here and there.
Yeah.
Stay there for like, what, a day?
I think the audience suffered more. I think the audience, Glenn suffers for a day. We've suffered for 3, 4, 5 weeks.
Oh yeah,
It's been a while.
It's been over a month.
But my biggest problem, listen, I like Glenn as a character, and I'm glad Glenn as a character is still alive because I like the character. But I do not like what it means for the show, because they've been saying for year after year, The Walking Dead is a show where anyone can be killed at any time, right? So stay on your toes because maybe we'll kill Rick. Like, of course you're not going to do that, but they try to tell us that, and when they do something like this and they make it so obvious that Glenn was dead and they would have to have a contrived reason for him to get out, and then they backtrack on it, I feel like it's insulting the viewers.
And someone pointed out, it's been 4 or 5 weeks for us. It's been 2 days for the show.
Yeah, the whole timing of the whole season of when things are happening is really confusing, and you don't really know how long Glenn was down there, because then Enid pops up on the roof, hands him a bottle, but
that whole Enid, the entire thing with Glenn and Enid just annoyed me. Like, I don't know, she was being all teen angsty. And
here's a fun drinking game, right? Rewatch last night's episode and take a drink every time Glenn yells, Enid! And you will be drunk within like 30 seconds, because it's just like, I swear, he's chasing after Enid and he yells, Enid! Like a dozen times.
Alright, the only way it's going to redeem itself, this show, is if all the walkers just eat everybody who's not part of Rick's group and just kills every liability that's on the show at this point.
So, okay, we're seeing a lot of people, there's been some rumors from years ago that Glenn would be the next to die because of what happens in the comic books, right? Just want to address that very quickly, because we know there's a major comic book villain coming into the show, and now that Glenn has been resurrected, I really doubt that they will turn around and kill him this season. But I think that maybe another character might be fair game. It's a main character, a significant character.
Maybe Morgan.
Maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe Morgan saves Rick or something.
Morgan's got a lot of ways to go to redeem himself. So I just want to jump into Alexandria, right? It is full of incompetent people. I hate
Incompetent people, number one.
Okay, bad neighbors, right? Bad neighbors. And not like they're having a party and they're keeping you up, but like bad neighbors that will get you killed.
Nothing against people who live in a gated community, but it makes you soft.
These people are soft. They are incompetent. But I want to talk about who is the biggest liability in Alexandria. And disclaimer, a lot of the candidates are people that we brought with us. So let's go with I just want to jump into this guy first, right?
Hey. I'm going to save the world.
Not so. There's a cure in D.C.
Affirmative.
So, Eugene, listen. Eugene is a straight-up liability. Let's be
Clearly
honest.
showed with the machete training.
But the difference between Eugene and all these other people is I don't hate Eugene.
He's entertaining.
Well, Eugene knows that he's soft and he's weak.
Right.
and
Eugene wants to be better.
Diane's son, what's his name? Deanna's son. He thinks he's like
Spencer,
Rambo.
right?
Okay.
This guy.
This guy with his grappling hook.
I love Rick how he's just like, what are you doing? Let him die.
I'd like to think that this guy had a grappling hook before the apocalypse, and this was finally his excuse to use it.
This guy, he's too pretty for the apocalypse.
So this guy definitely is asking to be killed. And I like how Rick basically says, I would have let you die. Or to Deanna, like, I saved him because it's your son. And basically, otherwise, he deserves to die.
Which her response is like, wrong answer.
Right. But honorable mention, remember this guy? Right? This one here was the good son. This one here was the bad son.
Taking it right out of Lord of the Rings with Faramir and Boromir.
So, yeah. Let's jump into our other Alexandrians.
My most hated character, Ron. I hate this kid.
How big of a problem is he going to be?
He's up to something.
I don't know why Carl doesn't see it already. He knows that they've gotten a little scuffle. Why would he even start to trust this kid?
It's very frustrating that they're so obvious. Like, it's so obvious that this kid is demented and angry.
He's glaring at Carl every time he opens his mouth.
Right. And Carl's just like, you just gotta point at me and shoot. That's all you gotta do. It's like, no, Carl, quit giving him pointers. And
you'll learn.
It's funny because if you go back to the Morgan episode and Eastman, right, and his job was that he could look at a hardened killer and say, this guy is rehabilitated or not. It'd be nice if Morgan would have learned some of those skills in addition to his Aikido, because then he would be able to see that this kid is no good. And I think next episode we're going to see problems.
Next episode we're going to see a lot of problems.
Well, we're going to see problems with or without that kid, but I think we would have seen problems already if it weren't for the wall issue that we had last night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other liability.
Well, let's get our last Alexandrian.
Enid. She's just a teen with problems.
She has problems, and then she creates problems, right? So, listen.
Oh, maybe the tower falling will... Actually, no, that does make sense. The tower falling will crush Ron. I think it already fell.
Yeah, it fell.
No. It fell, and Ron is still running around with a loaded gun.
Let's just touch on that real quick. I see that they had like 2 or 3 shots of of it being damaged. I guess coming in
because the truck hit in it.
The truck hit it. Is that what happened?
Well, the truck hit near it.
Yeah,
I think.
But I saw like this line of
And the building was like they kept showing the building and stuff falling off of it.
So it's been like happening. Like I think when the truck hit, it took out like a support, like a weight bearing column or something.
Right.
And like slowly over time, it's been weakening, and that giant crack has been going up the sides slowly.
And then finally, it comes down.
It would have if it would have happened during the nighttime when it was sleeping, that would have been great.
That would have been for good.
I really thought that it was going to catch on fire because something always catches. It's made of wood. Something's going to catch on fire at night.
So let's go back to Enid because there's a lot of mentions of her possibly being a wolf. I gotta say, I don't think that Enid is actually one of the wolves at all. I know that they talked about it on The Talking Dead last night. There's a precedent in the comics that maybe she's a wolf, maybe she isn't. Like
I never even thought about that.
I don't think they've had all these opportunities to make her look like a wolf, and I think she's just a girl whose parents died and she's hardened, and I think that's it. I think she's damaged from the life she's had to lead here, and I don't think that she's one of the wolves, but I think that she realizes that whether it's the wolves or it's anyone else, that there are enemies at the gate, and having a nice big gate makes you a magnet for them. So I don't know. I think that she's just a liability because she wants to go her own way, and people like Glenn won't let her. So I don't know. What do you think?
Who do you guys think is the biggest liability?
Yeah,
I think that Glenn is a liability unto himself, in that, like, with Enid, he just wouldn't let her go. And that's it. I think that's annoying. It's like, this dude almost died. As far as we knew, he was dead for weeks. And anyway.
Morgan. Someone says Morgan is the biggest liability. We got him on our list.
Okay. Let's get to Morgan. Right? Morgan is someone that from the very beginning was set up as a fan favorite character because he saved Rick. He kept Rick alive, and therefore he gained a place in our hearts. But he's quickly demolished his goodwill.
Someone thinks the balloons are a huge liability.
The text, yeah. I'll try to put it up here so you can put hearts on Morgan's face.
Oh, sure. Put it over my face.
There you go. I'll be this guy. Who do you hate more?
Oh, God, yeah.
Who do you hate more? Quite a contest. Yeah, so Morgan is... he's keeping a wolf. I should have printed out a picture of a wolf. That guy that he has in the basement, because I'd like to know who's the bigger liability, Morgan or the wolf in the basement, right? The guy that's there that wants to kill everyone, or the guy that lets him there?
Well, he's the safest one right now because he's locked up.
That's true.
Actually, Carol might kill him. Who knows?
So I just... it's like something has to give with Morgan. And he's either going to
make a
adjust,
mistake.
Or maybe he sacrifices himself. Maybe Morgan's the one that goes next week.
He's been wanting to die for a long time.
I mean, I feel like that's a satisfactory conclusion, that he never adjusted. And
Morgan thinks he can save the wolf. I don't think it's going to work.
no.
I don't think he's going to be able to. I think, well, now that Carol knows, she's probably just going to sneak in there and kill him.
Well, I can't believe Carol hasn't done it already.
Yeah.
Like, Carol is not one to go and tell on people. Carol is one to just get it done.
Is Judith a wolf? This guy Jenkins 4MP, he's funny.
She could be someday. A lot of people mentioned and said that Judith was a big liability, and normally I would say yes.
That's why I think Maggie's going
But
to die.
this season, fortunately, the one benefit of being in Alexandria from a story perspective and from a production standpoint is they can just push Judith aside. And it's like, okay, somebody is babysitting her. We don't need to see Judith for like
Funny,
5
like, oh,
episodes.
this is your. I know it's your shift, but can you watch the baby? Oh,
That's exactly what
Rick
Carol
doesn't even
did.
bother.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, whatever, just raise her.
Yeah, and
Where do they get the diapers from?
I don't think they have diapers. You can wash those out. You can have cloth diapers.
Oh yeah, like old school stuff.
Old school. And last guy. Come on. Why is this guy still alive?
He's just been...
Does anyone have a good answer?
He's had no dialogue in the past, 5 episodes, and just looks scared all the time.
Well, I love that Rick just ripped down his sign in front of him. Like,
That was awesome.
it's just like...
He already betrayed them. I don't know why he's still around. I
Yeah.
really don't. He should have been eaten episodes ago.
Back when they first found him. Should have been eaten last season.
And Carol was going to let him die whenever the wolves attacked. And Morgan, I don't know. Morgan stopped and saved him or something?
Was that it?
He was being attacked by the wolves, and Carol
Was
had
this
Morgan at the time.
outside of Alexandria?
It was in Alexandria.
Okay.
Yeah. So, who do you think is the biggest liability out of all these liabilities, all these problems? You can even bring up Judith if you want.
Rick is rude to Gabriel, but Rick is rude to everyone who's a liability.
Rick has no time for these people.
Zero tolerance.
And he
for
makes
Rick.
it very clear.
So is this the end of Alexandria? This looks like it might be it, right?
I don't know, because we know that Negan is joining the show, and he's going to be a major villain with the Saviors. And it looks like last week we actually met the Saviors, sort of, the people that Daryl runs into. So I have to think that Alexandria isn't going to go away, because it feels like it makes much more sense for them to have a home base whenever there's enemies at the gate, right?
But I don't know how they're gonna keep all these walkers from just ransacking there.
Yeah, like they can't.
They don't have enough bullets to kill everybody.
Carl does sleep in that hat, by the way. And he showers in it,
Well,
too.
we haven't seen him in the hat in a couple episodes, right?
He was in that yesterday, last episode.
I know he was, but before that.
Oh, I think if Alexandria is going to survive after the tower falling down, they need a huge distraction to get rid of all those walkers because they're not going to kill them all.
And maybe Daryl comes back.
Daryl's coming back with the truck full of gas.
Oh, right.
But what's he gonna do?
Or they're just going to light the whole thing on fire and then
you
find
can't
another
light
place?
you can't light them on fire as they're coming into the town.
They'll just walk with like fire.
But they mentioned in the previous episode Dwight. We know that it's the character that captured Daryl. We know that from the comics his name is Dwight. He mentions that he had scorched the woods by lighting a big bonfire of walkers that drew more in, and the noise and everything, the fire. So clearly they set that up so that Daryl has this truck, the tanker truck with gas, but he's going to have to light it pretty far away. Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of
I think they're just going to light Alexandria.
walkers on fire coming in.
Just drive the truck straight through.
Well, if they do, remember the farm, Herschel's farm?
Mm-hmm.
That was a season finale, and that was epic.
That was
My
favorite.
Because you mentioned how cool it would be if the thing that happened last night with the church falling and bashing the gates would have happened at night. That's basically what happened with the farm.
That's what I was thinking. Like if it caught on fire,
and that was one of the best moments from the show.
That was probably my
lead
favorite
back.
episode.
Lead back to the quarry and light it on fire.
Why didn't they do that to begin with, huh? I was looking at this quarry full of thousands of walkers, and it's just like, doesn't somebody want to throw a match down there?
Yeah. Find that gas truck and then just spray that.
It's been very frustrating this season because it seems like there's a lot of obvious things that just aren't being done.
And you know what? That idea was just kind of stupid to begin with. There was just so many ways that things can go wrong with that. I don't know.
Well, they set it up as, okay, anytime now these walkers can get out of this quarry, so we better lead them away. But what I would have said is, hey, how about we just light them on fire while they're in a quarry? I don't know. This season has been pretty frustrating because from the Alexandrians that are completely worthless, and by the way, do not help at all. There was, whenever Rick was reinforcing the walls last night, there's one Alexandrian that comes out and is like, hey, do you need a hand? Where are these people? It's not like they're going to work.
And if you notice, he only gave him a hand for a second, and as soon as Rick hit the one nail in, he bailed.
Yeah, didn't he? Because when
He might have.
Maybe they cut to a commercial.
Yeah.
I'm sure he bailed during the commercial.
He's like, don't give up on us. But
Use
you know
the
what?
helium to build a floating city. They're going to need a lot more helium. Okay, so
let's wrap this up.
let's wrap it up. What did you think of last night? Is The Walking Dead back? I saw some people had mentioned that The Walking Dead as of last night has jumped the shark. I don't know if that's the case. I feel like last night was a welcome change from the last few episodes, but it's like we could have had this episode 3 episodes ago, and I think it would have been a much better season.
Yeah. It is what it is, though. We'll find out. Is the last one coming up here, or is this
The mid-season finale is next week.
Which is pretty much the last one.
It's going to be the last one until
after
it's like
the
around
Walking Dead, right?
April-ish. I'm not sure when Fear the Walking Dead comes back. But this is the last Walking Dead next week for
Actually,
the
it'll
year.
be really soon for Fear the Walking Dead to come back.
So who's going to bite it? Is it going to be is Ron going to murder someone? Is Morgan going to get people murdered?
Will we get a Negan reveal?
Is Carol just going to kill everyone and say, I'm done with this? We'll see. So tune in next week and keep on walking.